Hello, everyone. Welcome to the new episode of XenTegra on Air IGEL podcast series. I'm your host, Indrajeet Ghorpade, Director of Solution Engineering at XenTegra Private Limited. And I have my friend Simon Townsend, Field CTO for EMEA with IGEL. Hey, hi, Simon. How are you?
Good morning, Indrajeet. I'm very well, thank you. It is a Friday. Been a very long week, and I'm looking forward to a couple of days off, spend some time with the family. But yeah, no, all is good here. Everything good with you?
Yes, it's like now rainy season is about to end, like, and now it is everywhere, like kind of sunny atmosphere. You can see the like lot of light and all, right? And there was a holiday season started recently. As I said last week, we were having very short week, lot of holidays, and like now it will be continued like this for next couple of weeks or months, like continuous festivals in India. So all
Good,
our festivity in India. Yeah.
good. And is business good?
Yes, business is good. Like we are doing a lot of so specifically solutions like IGEL, right? So our XenTegra, like our target is like there are a couple of solutions like say for example IGEL, Controller, Cameo, Workspot. These solutions are very new to the Indian market or customers in India. So our
Hmm.
priority or like our I'll say responsibility here in India, along with the solutions which are already known to the people, right? Citrix, VMware, everyone knows on as a VDI platform or as a virtualization platform, Citrix, VMware, and kind of solutions people already know. But
Hmm.
we have taken that responsibility to educate and like to create that awareness about the niche solutions or the solutions which can make difference and they are doing very good implementations and they are actually performing well or giving good advantages to the customers in like US, Canada, or any other region, right? So we are focusing on that. So yeah, we are making a lot of demos happening. People are showing interest on these new solutions and so on. Like even small, like we closing a couple of opportunities now for these new solutions, right? And for the Indian customers, purely India specific opportunities, which is actually a
Yeah,
very good sign.
yeah. Are people moving to the cloud over there, or are more people deploying desktop virtualization on-prem in data centers, or is it a mix?
Is it? It's a mix, but like as you know, right? Everywhere it's like uh, considering the launch of AVD and like Microsoft, like cloud PC and such solutions, right? And the advantages customers are getting with their licensing, like with their existing Microsoft licensing, people are looking forward for like cloud-based VDI or like SaaS solutions. And
Hmm.
yes, people are showing interest moving towards cloud. Even the existing customers, like on-prem customers with on-premise VDI infrastructure, they have even started evaluating these DaaS solutions, and partially they have even started moving on to the cloud. So I think
Mm.
now cloud is everywhere. Like every customer will think of a cloud based not only VDI, but like obviously for other purpose, people are already using uh, cloud services. But like even for VDI, that will be now will be kind of right the thing people will try to explore. Or like it will be in boom right in couple of
Yeah,
months or years. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? There is, I think pre-COVID, um, the cloud was used a lot for SaaS-based applications, data storage in some cases,
Yeah.
at least personal files and that type of thing. But the idea of running a desktop out of the cloud was something that people were considering, but perhaps not doing. Whereas I think post-COVID, um, maybe the costs have come down a little bit more, and people are more open to at least evaluating the cloud. It's interesting you say. I mean, what I'm seeing at the moment is a lot of people who are looking at a hybrid approach, which is they do want to keep at least one data center alive,
Yeah.
but they want to use the cloud either as a additional data center for scale or a way of which they could have some sort of failover. So I think, more and more people are looking at maybe shutting down their DR sites and using the cloud for expansion and for some form of DR as well. But it's interesting. It is very, very interesting. I think that sort of takes us quite nicely onto what we're going to talk about today, right? Because I think we're going to try and focus some of our attention on what do we think might happen over the next 12 months, right? What does 2024 look like from an end user computing point of view?
Yeah, yeah, and as you correctly mentioned, or like you touched base, right? That COVID time, there is there are a lot of new things happened during that COVID time. People who were reluctant to explore cloud for as you said, right? Earlier it was very limited to specific like SaaS-based applications, SaaS-based services, cloud storage, or specific services on cloud. But and during COVID, but like people started even a lot of partners, a lot of OEMs like Citrix, VMware. If you have seen the actual cloud, say for example, Citrix CVAD. So the cloud
Yep.
offering of it, hybrid way of delivering their VDI, that is evolved during the COVID period, right? And it is full-fledged now. Earlier, initially, it was only limited to Microsoft Azure, right? Now they are even offering it on like Google Cloud, right? There is evolution during that time, and there are a lot of things happened. People, even customers, are now because they have seen that overall environment where like a couple of customers were not able to work at all because they were not having any provisioning to work remotely. But during after pandemic or during pandemic, like such kind of customers, even like who are not having any kind of a provisioning to work remotely, bought a lot of devices, mass buying of laptops. Few of them like were having kind of right were like little early thinker, I say. They have made some like remote working or like work from home provisioning. At least they initiated something, and now it is at some like I say kind of a uh, level, right, where that's like they can consider it they are 100% work from home ready. But there
Mm-hmm.
are these things happen during the pandemic, and now like if we talk about next year, like or 2024, like now like last year, right, we were talking about COVID here and there, right? So now this is kind of a stable year, right? And 2024 will be the year I think we will see a lot of technology changes, a lot of things we'll see in the technology enhancement, I say, or like there'll be lot of things will happen in IT industry. So
Yep.
I said, right, that lot of things happen that mass buying of laptops and like those devices with small handle devices which people can carry anywhere to make use it for work from home or like work from anywhere kind of a or hybrid way of working, right?
Mm-hmm.
I and like 2024, like now we are almost about one last quarter is remaining for this year. And for those customers who like bought those devices, opted for additional services, considering the pandemic where they were not able to work from office. So now that purchase which they did, like for a couple of customers, it was not actually needed purchase that time, but they were not having any option, and they already purchased a lot of laptops, and like I think those laptops will even like very soon, like in a year or so, like in a couple of months, those laptops will be end of life, or there'll be a refreshment needed for those devices. So I just want to understand how IGEL OS or like IGEL solution will help those customers to
Mm-hmm.
repurpose or like if those laptops are in like very good condition, they can use those laptops for at least for a couple of years, right? They can
Yeah.
extend the life of those devices for maybe 2 3 years more, because in that way they'll see that return on investment, because they'll use those devices purchased because of the need during pandemic, but at least they'll utilize those devices for a couple of more years, and they'll actually see that return on investment.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, everything you said there, I completely agree with. Right. So, if you look at laptop sales during 2020 and 2021, the sales of laptops broke all records for the last 10 years, right? So it wasn't since 2011 that we'd seen that many laptops sold. If you look at Canalys, they will tell you that in 2020 and 2021, there was 11-15% growth on the PC shipments in 2020 and 2021, which means that you're typically seeing 350 million PCs being shipped in 2021. And if you think about it, yeah, it's a lot. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense because the desktop is useless. The desktop is the traditional desktop, tower PC, right? When COVID came along, you either had Citrix, you had VMware, you had VDI, or you didn't. And for those people that didn't, they had to go and buy laptops. And then we have the chip shortages and all that sort of stuff. Even with the chip shortages, there were still more PCs and laptops bought at that time than ever before. And it was because we needed to send people home, and they needed laptops on their desks, on their kitchen worktop, on their dining room table, so they could carry on working. But organizations did a couple of other things during that time, right? They had to go and buy extra VPN licenses so that people could dial in and they could get their updates and they can have their management. They had to buy extra security software. They had to buy everyone a Zoom and a Teams license, et cetera, et cetera. So the net result is that organizations spent a huge amount of money deploying laptops during 2020 and 2021. And what's interesting for me is that next year, some of those laptops are going to be 4 years old. Some of them are going to be 3 years old. And typically, what we do when a laptop gets 3 or 4 years old is we write it off. We write it off financially. But there's another problem. And the other problem is that Windows 10 is going to go end of life at the end of 2025. So lots of organizations next year are going to start thinking about, how do I do my Windows migration? I've got all of these laptops. These laptops are free. Within a year, I've got to get all of those laptops from Windows 10 to Windows 11, because Windows 10 goes end of life October 2025, and everyone needs to move on to Windows 11. The challenge is that 1 in 3 laptops that are out there cannot run Windows 10 because they don't have the right hardware. And in particular, lots of them don't have a TPM2 chip. And lots of those laptops are also varied in their models. So an organization that used to buy HP laptops perhaps couldn't get hold of all of the HP laptops that they typically would buy because of the chip shortage. And so there's a lot more variation. So you've got people with Lenovo devices, people with HP, people who went out and bought Chromebooks, people who went out and bought Asus devices. So there's a much more heterogeneous estate of laptops out there, which are getting older and which may or may not support Windows 11. And so why I'm quite excited and interested to see what happens next year is that I think the COVID storm has finished, and we're now looking at a way in which we can deploy consistent workspaces. How do we deliver a consistent and secure workspace that is going to allow people to work from anywhere, both in the office and at home, allow them to connect to hybrid applications, allow them to connect to hybrid clouds, data centers that are on-prem, data centers that are in the cloud. And how do we do that without having to do a big device refresh? So, historically, an organization that didn't look at VDI would literally, if they've got 4,000 laptops, they would say, okay, these 4,000 laptops are 4 years old. We need to get from Windows 10 to Windows 11. Let's go and buy 4,000 new laptops. Well, number one, that's expensive. We're in an economic crisis and people don't want to buy new laptops. Number two, those laptops that we bought 3-4 years ago are actually really good laptops. They've got 8 gig, 16 gigabyte of RAM. They've got processing power. People are using them. Why do we need to throw them away? And then obviously, if we do throw them away, we add to the sustainability, the e-waste problem, right? We are typically, we're around 60 million tons of e-waste every single year at the moment. IT is contributing about 7% of that e-waste, and we're meant to be trying to save the planet. And so throwing laptops away after 3 or 4 years just because there's a new version of Windows doesn't seem to make a lot of sense either. So my belief is that in 2024, more organizations are going to rethink how they deliver their desktop, how they deliver their workspace. And they are going to come back to organizations like yourselves, Indrajeet, come to XenTegra and say, how can you help us? And I think the best way of dealing with this Windows 11 migration is to say, stop doing Windows migrations, move Windows to the cloud, put Windows in a data center or into the cloud, use VDI, use desktop as a service, and change the way in which you deploy applications. And in answer to your question, IGEL plays a massive part in that, because what IGEL is going to do is IGEL is going to be able to be installed on all of those laptops that you've currently got and turn them into IGEL laptops. And turning them into IGEL laptops means you don't have to worry about Windows 10 going end of life. You don't have to worry about the hardware. You don't have to worry about security. You're not just saving money because you're not having to buy new hardware. You're saving the planet because you're not having to buy new hardware. You get rid of your VPN technology. You get rid of your antivirus technology, your XDR, your EDR, your visibility tools. All of that, all of those agents and all of those management tools that go on Windows, they can all be taken off. So we can reduce hardware costs, we can reduce software costs, we can reduce operational IT cost. And we say, put IGEL on all of those devices. They can now last for the next 3-4 years. Everybody has still got a laptop, so they can still use it at home, use it in the office, put it in their bag. They've still got a laptop. It's just that we've changed the operating system, and then we now deliver Windows via Citrix, via Workspot, via Windows Cloud PC, whatever it might be. And I think that is what you're going to see more of in 2024, is people strategically think about how do they deploy their workspace and how could they approach the Windows 11 migration differently. Microsoft, by the way, want you to do this as well, right? Because Microsoft want you to run Windows, that's fine, but actually they now believe that one of the most cost-effective and secure ways of deploying Windows is to do it with AVD or Windows 365 Cloud PC.
Yeah. And I think IGEL even started that like approach like in the last episode we discussed about the way app portal is evolving. And I think like in 2024, like if all these customers, if they think of finding a solution for like their like Windows 11 like migration, or right cloud like with a cloud PC, or right a desktop as a service solution, IGEL solution is already like started like their cloud support, and they are evolving like on the applications on cloud, right? And it will be seamless in that case. Like if customers will like try, or like will at least evaluate IGEL as a solution little early, right? So then they'll actually see that change, or like the way IGEL helps to deliver desktop as a service or a VDI solution to them, and
Yeah.
like how seamless applications and services are available on IGEL, like with the IGEL OS 12 or Cosmos OS launch, right? Now it is very seamless for a cloud based VDI or like a desktop as a service solution to use.
Yeah, no, right, 100% right. I think we spoke about personas last week, and you know, how many of your users actually need a Windows desktop? I think that's the question that people need to ask themselves.
Yeah.
How many of your employees can do the majority of their work through a web browser and Zoom and Teams, right? How many of them do need Windows-based applications, and how many of them could access those Windows-based applications through VDI, desktop as a service? I mean, here's the most simple example. The most simple example I've got at the moment is I have one customer and I have one prospect. And I've spoken to both of these organizations this week. The customer of IGEL, who uses AVD, funnily enough, they have about 3,500 IGEL devices, 3,500 IGEL powered laptops accessing AVD. That customer, when I say to that customer, what are you doing about Windows 11? That customer does not have a Windows 11 migration project to worry about. He doesn't. It's non-existent. It's like my hardware is my hardware. If my hardware breaks, I replace it. If my hardware doesn't break, I'm not replacing it. Hardware is lasting for the foreseeable future. There is no 3-year or 4-year lifetime of the laptop. It's just this person's got a laptop and he'll use it until it breaks. That could be 5 years, could be 6 years, could be 7 years. If they want to move from Windows 10 to Windows 11, all they have to do is change the operating system in the cloud, AVD, and today someone logs onto a Windows 10 desktop and tomorrow they log onto a Windows 11 desktop. There is no downtime for the user. There is no going to site to migrate that device. There is no worried about where that device is in the world and is the bandwidth big enough. It's all done centrally on a single image in the cloud, and they can test it. They can have some users on it. They can pull some users off it. They can move everyone to it. It's super, super simple, but there is no migration headache for that customer. The prospect I'm dealing with at the moment, on the other hand, has got 4,000 laptops that can't run Windows 10 and is considering buying 4,000 new laptops with Windows 11 on them. And they've got to test all their applications. They've got to worry about how they're actually going to deliver these laptops and enroll them. And the cost, is extortionate. Hundreds of thousands of pounds, if not millions of pounds, in terms of new hardware, new software, and testing and deployment. And, they're a local government. They're being asked to reduce their carbon footprint. They don't have a lot of money. Lots of the local governments are in the UK at the moment are really struggling from a financial point of view. We've actually had some local councils that have gone bankrupt and the government is having to help them out. So they've got no money. Most of them actually have shut down their offices. So all of their employees are working from home. So just going down a route of a Windows migration doesn't make a lot of sense to that organization, and hence why we're talking to them about how IGEL and VDI or IGEL and Cloud PC might be able to help them out. And I think you guys do this a lot, right? You mentioned before, you've not just got Citrix and VMware now. You don't just have DAS, Cloud PC, and AVD, but you've got technologies like Workspot. You've got technologies like Cameo, for instance, which can deliver applications through a web browser without delivering a desktop. Workspot giving you ultimate flexibility in terms of where you may want to deliver those workloads from. So there's an incredible amount of choice out there for customers. what we need to do as IT professionals is we just need to stop and think differently. What we don't want to do is do what we've been doing for the last 25 years. And for the last 25 years, ever since Windows 95 came out, we've been buying a laptop, deploying Windows. New version of Windows comes out, we buy another laptop. New version of Windows comes out, we buy another laptop. This is silly. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
And you know what, right? Even like as you mentioned, like even we discussed in detail last week, like that EUC strategy, if that strategy will be decided and that categorization of users, if that is done in every organization, right? According to that, if they move to like solution like IGEL and like kind of a secure way of delivering their applications and like cloud workspaces, with that they can even decide on like overall as you already said, right, they'll do a lot of saving on their security, like their EDR XDR solutions, endpoint protection, endpoint visibility solutions, uh, along with that, and there are a lot of savings they're already doing, and along with that, like their patch management, because the way they'll increase devices, there are a lot of administrative overheads even getting added, right? Patch management, security, like overall monitoring the security. Then there are a lot of additional things happening. But if the limit, if they categorize their end user devices properly, or if they define end user computing strategy well, then I think all these efforts even will be saved, or like maybe there'll be a cost saving as well as
Yeah.
manpower, right? Even human resources, overall, those man hours will be saved, and they can focus on some productive things, or they can invest that time to some other like technology, some other area where they can focus well, or like organization can focus in their business uh, more, right? Other than investing on IT infrastructure.
You're exactly right. The ability to go and work on something that can help transform the business as opposed to just supporting PCs. I mean, there are still, and by the way, it's not a very exciting job for anyone in IT anymore, right? Which is, what do you do? Well, I patch Windows PCs every Tuesday, and I have to deploy applications to remote devices, and I have to run reports to see if all of those patches have been deployed, and I have to support people where the patch has been deployed and it's broke the application or broke the desktop, and I have to chase somebody who's working at home who's not turned their PC on or not enabled their VPN because we've not been able to do the update. It's just a horrible time consuming task. And even with Intune, it's still not perfect. Like, you've still got one person in IT managing 500 PCs, two people managing 1,000, three people, four people managing 2,000 PCs. It doesn't scale very well. You implement something like IGEL, and all of a sudden you can have one person managing 20,000 devices. There's almost no endpoint management to do.
Yeah.
The focus is now on, okay, where are my applications? Where's my desktop being delivered from? I've got one image in the cloud, maybe two, maybe three, but I've got a small number of images in the cloud in VDI. I can change them. I can deploy new applications. I can be more agile. I can migrate to Windows 11. I can patch. All of that. It's just so much easier to do. I use AVD every single day of my life. Every single day of my life, I wake up, I open up my laptop. If I want to use the web browser and check my email, I can do. If I want to join a Zoom call, I can do. I can do all of that from IGEL. But if I want to get access to full-blown PowerPoint, if I want to access some of the resources inside my network, I fire up AVD, I connect to my AVD desktop. It's so simple to do. It works every single time. And people say, well, what about if you're offline, and what about network bandwidth and all that sort of stuff? It's almost irrelevant now, because everywhere we go in the world, the first question we ask is, what's the Wi-Fi? If we're not connected to Wi-Fi, then all of us seem to have a problem. And You know, whether it's Citrix, whether it's VMware, whether it is AVD, Workspot, Cameo, whatever it might be, getting access to remote applications is so much easier than having to get an application pushed down to a Windows endpoint. And it means our laptops perform better, they last longer, we're helping the planet, we're saving money, and we're more secure as well. So anyway, I don't need to sell IGEL to the listeners today, but hopefully you get my point, which is that's what I think is going to happen right now. I think, you know, as we go into 2024, more and more organizations are going to come knocking on XenTegra's door and saying, can you come and show us how we could transform how we deploy desktops and workspaces, because we don't need to do it in the same way that we've done it for the last 25 years.
Yeah, and as you said, right, if any customer will go for IGEL as a solution, or all those administrators, right, required number of administrators will be minimal, right? One administrator can even manage 15,000, 20,000 devices.
Yeah,
And and if they actually decide like on that overall strategy along with, right, like those bundles, I say like overall bundled solution like IGEL, then possible out of available VDI solutions or DAS solutions like Citrix, VMware, Cameo, Workspot, and so on. Along with that, if they'll have a monitoring solution like Control Up, EG Innovations, or like similar solutions, there are similar solutions available in the market. So if they like have that overall solution approach, there'll be very less administrative overhead to their system administrators or their like overall support team, and those resources can like use their time, or they can utilize their time in like some additional enhancement improvements or like some fine tuning of their existing infrastructure instead of doing those day-to-day specific tasks. Because like with these monitoring solutions as well, right, everything can be automated. Nothing to do nothing to do any remediation even, right? No need to do it manually. You can run a script and you can automate everything. Only you need to just acknowledge that particular alert, and like according to that all the actions will be automated as like as per the script you write, right? So obviously that time will be saved, resources as well as for the existing resources, that time saving will happen, and they can think on like overall managing or effectively managing their entire IT infrastructure. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly that. And I think the best way, you know, if I'd like the listeners today to take one thing away, is if anything that we are talking about is of interest, then come and speak to XenTegra, because XenTegra have got access to a TCO calculator that IGEL have got. And it's very, very easy to fill out, and it's very, very easy to start to see what the cost benefits are of moving to an IGEL VDI type of environment as opposed to Windows. And it's very simple if you think about it. Just pause for a second and think, okay, I need to buy someone a new laptop. Okay, I'm going to spend $1,000 on it. Yep, maybe more, but let's say $1,000 on it. I have to pay someone to manage that desktop. That could be $35 a month. I have to pay for the VPN technology, $5 a month. I have to pay for EDR, XDR, antivirus, $20 a month, $50 a year maybe. I've got to worry about management tools. I've got my other licenses and complexity goes on there. I've got to pay someone to patch it every week. You add all of that up, and then you compare it to buying an IGEL license, which can convert an existing PC or a laptop to IGEL. I don't have to buy a £1,000 laptop. I don't have to buy and renew any of that software that I mentioned. And the cost of managing that device now goes down to, let's say, $10 from $35. There's so much time saved, so much software license cost saved, so much hardware saved. Oh, and plus, for every laptop that I don't need to buy, I've saved 400 kilograms of CO2 emissions. So I'm helping the planet as well. I'm not digging up gold and copper and all of that stuff from the ground that goes into manufacturing a new laptop. So I'm actually able to offset my carbon footprint as well. So there's lots and lots of very good reasons why someone might want to look at this, and we can I think the important thing is we can quantify it for any customer that wants to speak to you about it.
Yeah, and it's actually good we are doing this. We are covering this in this podcast because we're almost like we are in the last quarter, and like 2024 is like around three months ahead, right? 2024 is 3 months ahead. Sorry. So now it is the right time for any organization to plan their strategy or like IT budgets as well, right, for the upcoming year. So
Exactly.
people should think of, right? I think it is the right time. We're actually recording this, and like we actually touch base majority of the technologies which are required or which are involved in this particular kind of a seamless delivery of endpoint as well as with security as well as
Mm-hmm.
cost saving, right? And
Yeah.
let's see, like maybe we have touched base a lot of solutions, and let's see, like after this, maybe like a lot of our customers and listeners uh, will be they may be interested and they may reach out. So they can always reach out to us, XenTegra,
Yep.
or like we both are available on LinkedIn and like all social media channels. So you can reach out to us and we can guide you, right, how you will proceed further in your next year strategy or like IT strategy for year 2024.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. You make a very valid point, and you make a very valid point about the budgets. You know, if an organization has got 1,000 PCs that are due to be refreshed next year,
Yeah.
and they're spending $1,000, that's $1 million. There's a line item in the budget for new PCs, $1 million.
Yeah.
And my guess is that any CFO or finance director is going to turn around and say, how do we use that money better? How do we reduce that amount of money, or how do we get more and grow our business by spending that money, not just we need to go and buy new laptops. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
Good.
yeah, it was good. It was a good conversation and on exactly right time, and I think we covered it very well. So yes, I think with this we can call it for today, and let's conclude today's episode, and let's catch up next week and
Yeah.
speak something more about like a new topic.
No problem at all. Enjoy your weekend. I hope it's not too rainy for you.
No, it's like it's kind of a sunny, like pleasant weather now. Like rain is almost gone. Now it's like
Good.
time to go out. And yes, happy weekend to you as well. And thank you. Thanks a lot for your time. Looking forward to meet in upcoming week.
All right. See you soon.
Thank you. Thanks.